Welcome to the Campfire. This week we're taking a deep dive into Houston's Power District, 23-6A. The teams in this one are Goose Creek Memorial, Channelview, North Shore, Humble, Atascocita, Kingwood, Summer Creek, and C.E. King. And now we're analyzing this district in our Randall's Film Session. 23-6A could be called the District of Doom in the Houston area, as it's one of the best in Texas. It produced 2 state runners-up, and all 4 of its playoff teams went at least 3 rounds deep in the postseason. And in 2024, expect more of the same, as the top 4 teams are just as powerful. We're starting with North Shore, which didn't miss a beat under new head coach Willie Gaston, advancing to another state final. North Shore, again, the team to beat, with QB Caleb Bailey gunning for a title in his final season. He has stars to throw to as well, with Dion DeBlanc and transfer Quanell Farrakhan as wide receivers, DeAndre Hardiman out of the backfield. Defensively, North Shore has the best corner in the state, possibly the nation, in Devin Sanchez. And, there's also Charles Ross at linebacker. Atascocita will try to fight past North Shore behind running backs Torrey Blaylock and Carday Mack. With 14 starters returning, could this finally be Craig Stump's year to beat those North Shore Mustangs? Summer Creek made it to its first ever state title game after an amazing 14-2 season in 2023. The Bulldogs relying heavily on a stout defense led by Chad Woodfork and Brandon Jones. C.E. King went 9-4, had another solid year in 23. Should be the 4th playoff team from this district again, behind running back Deion Sims. And although it's a long shot for any of the other 4 teams to make the postseason, expect Humble to have the best shot. The Wildcats, led by dual-threat quarterback MacArthur Baker. Kingwood finished 5th last year, will try to duplicate that with Marquez Davis looking to eclipse 1,000 yards at running back. The new members of this district, Channelview and Goose Creek Memorial, will find it a little more difficult to gain their footing. Channelview sees big things in quarterback Jason Wheelock, while the Patriots are in a youth movement after a 1-win season in 2023.
The film session is brought to you by Randall's. Find these great Mott's products on the Chevrolet Inside High School Sports End Cap and take your shopping game to the next level.
Chevrolet Inside High School Sports is brought to you by the Houston area Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
And for an even deeper look now at 23-6A, here's our producer Ward Fasold and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with this district breakdown.
We got another district breakdown for you. John Poorman's joining me from the Houston Chronicle. We're talking 23-6A, and this is the old 21-6A, where we're going to have 4 teams. I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with me that probably have a long playoff run. They certainly have over the last 3-4 years, with 2 of them making it to the state final games last year. 2 new teams coming in. There's Channelview, Goose Creek Memorial, and we're losing the Beaumont teams. Channelview, Jalen Hurts isn't walking through that door, so I don't know if they're going to compete for any kind of district title. So let's talk about those 4 big dogs again, and who you think is going to come out on top.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to pick North Shore, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if we're talking about this district in June, I mean, it's North Shore all the way. I mean, obviously they not only won this district last year, but they advanced all the way to the Class 6A Division I state championship game, where they lost to, a really, really talented Duncanville squad. Certainly no shame in that. But yeah, I mean, North Shore has continued to keep its standards high under head coach Willie Gaston. He's done an excellent job since taking over for John Kay. Atascocita, year after year, is another program in the Houston area. They just, unfortunately happen to be matched up in the same district with North Shore year after year, but they're one of the top programs in the city as well. And, you saw that last year, making the regional final again, ultimately falling to North Shore. But, that's the thing about this Eagles team and under coach Craig Stump is year after year over the past decade plus, they've they've been in these positions where they're competing for district titles, they're competing for deep playoff runs, and I wouldn't expect that to change at all.
Looking forward to it. Also looking forward to next week when we talk about our last 6A district, 24-6A, and see what your thoughts are on that one.
Sounds good.
Thanks, gentlemen, and we'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now, we're taking a look at game changers in our Players on the Rise, presented by Parker University. Defense will be a strong point in 23-6A. The best defender here, Devin Sanchez from North Shore. This cornerback has 9 picks in his career, including 5 last fall. He also made 21 tackles, broke up 11 more passes. His height and length are what defensive coordinators dream from the cornerback position. And add to that top-end athleticism, it's no wonder why he'll be playing for Ohio State in college. Coming off the edge for Summer Creek, Chad Woodfork. And the thought alone of this 6'4", 220-pound speeder lining up against you gives offensive linemen across the state nightmares. He's fast, athletic, forces the quarterback to make those quick decisions that usually work out in the Bulldogs' favor. Woodfork finishing with 33 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 fumble recoveries a year ago, and those numbers should rise before Chad heads to TCU for his college football. Charles Ross from North Shore has been described as a certified freak show. Look at his tape and you'd agree. The linebacker making 75 tackles, 13 of those for loss, 6 sacks for the Mustangs last season. Charles not just a blitzing linebacker either. He's excellent in coverage, picked off 2 passes, and his speed allows him to get from sideline to sideline with ease. Charles has committed to LSU. The most talented running back in 23-6A, Torrey Blaylock from Atascocita. He's a factor on both the ground and the Eagles' passing attack. He ran for over 600 yards and 11 touchdowns last fall, also caught 19 balls for 3 more scores. Sprinter's speed is what this young man has, and when Torrey gets through the first line of defense, he gone. Blaylock will take his talents to Norman to play at Oklahoma in college.
Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
And for more talk about 23-6A, here's Ward Fasold catching up with one of the coaches in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day. We are diving into one of our last 2 districts, 23-6A. I'm talking to Goose Creek Memorial head coach Daniel Ragsdale, who jumps up from 5A to 6A and gets rewarded with the District of Doom, or whatever you want to call it, the district of teams that go 3 to 4 rounds deep every single year that makes the playoffs. Coach, and you're coming off of a year where you went 1-9, and you're a younger squad. You had a lot of graduation in there too. Man, taking all this in, you knew you were going up to 6A. You probably had an idea where you were going to go, but when realignment came out and you saw where you're headed, you told me off camera you're kind of excited. Talk to me a little bit about your initial reaction to your new district.
Initial reaction was just like everybody else's reaction. It's just like when you're kind of hoping, you're anticipating going up, but then you say, okay. The reality is, the last time GCM went up, they were in a district with North Shore, and that's because I was there.
Right.
So that's probably not going to change. The biggest difference is, now you add Humble to the mix, and you add T King to the mix, of course, and it makes a little bit different animal with how things have grown on that side. So initially, it was a little bit of a shock, but I mean, when you step back and look at it from my perspective, because I get to do that, our kids have been competing against these teams right here on the east side from the middle school up.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Now, you have a good one.
And there's much more of that, as you can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we're analyzing our final 6A district, 24-6A. Until then, have a great week.